Greetings, friends and fellow rebels. Welcome to the woods. I want to mention something I think is probably very important for some of the folks who are watching me this discourse at this time. You will notice that as you build up your spiritual energy within a confined area, within your home, within your sacred space, that the phenomena of thoughts and feelings becoming reality or having a strong effect on reality, that is going to become less nuanced, more obvious, and stronger. This is the reason that throughout history, traditionally, when you have a sacred space, it's understood that behavior must be modulated within that space. You need to be careful. Watch your words, watch your actions, watch your presentation. Be respectful. Be respectful of what that space represents and the beliefs of the people who have created that space as being sacred. So, if that particular belief system, if that religion, if that spirituality has prohibitions against certain species or certain clothing or certain behavior, then you respect that. When you visit that space, you respect that. In the same way, as you become more sacred, as you sacrifice the mundane aspects of your being to the sacred aspects of your being, and you become more sacred in how you move through the world, you're going to have to become more thoughtful in all ways, in all the different ways that you express yourself in the world. And if you don't, you will notice the consequences. It's just the way the universe works. It's not personal. However, it can feel personal sometimes. You may have noticed, and I certainly noticed in my editing of it, the discussion I had, the deep dive on the dark side, the presence of flies. Again, when you're in a sacred space, things that happen are not going to be as random as when you are in a mundane space. Because when you're in a mundane space, the experiences you have are a convergence of many different energies of many different people that are not being very thoughtful about how they're putting their energy out. So it's much more chaotic. There's more of a likelihood for accidents to happen. But in a strongly sacred space that you create around you when you attune to Source, and which you create within you and around you when you dedicate yourself to manifesting Source in a way that benefits how you express in the world. Okay, it's a mouthful, I'm sorry, but these are hard concepts. They've taken a lot of our words for spiritual things away from us. So we need to use sentences to make ourselves understood. When you are in a more sacred space, there won't be accidents. Everything that happens as a consequence of thoughts or words, actions taken. The doctrine of signatures, these symbolic representations of spiritual energies, will become stronger. The flies are an example. Within the Western sphere, within this English-speaking community, it's understood what it's meant by to be a fly on the wall. To be a fly on the wall. Ooh, I would like to be a fly on the wall and see what happens in that conversation. I would like to be a fly on the wall. We even have spy innovators for spy equipment that have created drones to resemble flies to capture conversations and goings on. So the fly is a pretty universal idea of spying on something. And thus, when flies show up, quite often, I've noticed the doctrine of signatures. It's when somebody's kind of looking in on you and saying, what are you up to? And when I have the notice of those who are in opposition to what I'm doing, it very often shows up as flies. And the type of fly will tell me if it's true opposition or if it's just a curious person who's kind of neutral. The carrion flies, the big dark flies that feed off of the dead, tend to be the opposite side of the chessboard from what I'm on. The fairy flies, just the small little innocuous ones, tend to just be casual, neutral, checking things out, which is what we saw in the video the other day. But flies in general indicate that I've got someone curious. Well, apparently that's not something I was supposed to be talking to you about. I was about to share something, and it got caught in my throat. So, apparently the focus of this conversation needs to be not so much emphasis on particulars, but perhaps more a general. Observe your surroundings. Look at what's happening when you see a bird fly by. See what type of bird you've got. When you see a companion come up to you and try to get your attention, take a look and see who it is and what they might want. If they're trying to help you out with something, or perhaps if they're simply curious and want to get in the middle of something, and they have something to say to you. Take a notice. Is the cat that crossed your path, is it a black cat? Is it gray? Is it white? Is it gold? That'll tell you a lot about what you're interfacing with. But be careful about stereotypes, because it doesn't always mean what's obvious. A black cat crossing your path is not bad luck, but more a warning of powerful spiritual forces that are intersecting with your life at this time. I think I've said enough for one day, and welcome to the woods.